Tesla shareholders have approved a historic pay package for the firm's CEO Elon Musk. It's worth a possible record-breaking $1 trillion and is intended to keep the world's richest man in charge of the company for the next decade.
Elon Musk, the $1 trillion man. Well, not quite, but Tesla shareholders have paved the way for the world's richest man to get a whole lot richer, voting in favour of a deal which will give Musk around $1 trillion of stock if he can significantly boost the company's value over the next 10 years to $8.5 trillion. Musk hyped up shareholders with plans for Tesla robots and self-driving cars.
The first car that is specifically built. I think we'll be able to deploy all the Cybercabs that we produce, and the other thing is, like, once it becomes like extremely normal in cities, it's just going to become like the regulators will have just fewer and fewer reasons to say no.
If Musk does achieve the ambitious milestones needed for the payout, it would make him the world's first trillionaire. It's a mind-boggling figure. For context, Switzerland's GDP is less at roughly $900 billion. Already worth around $500 billion, Musk has managed to extend his influence far beyond his companies. As an advisor to the White House, he slashed government spending. Many of Musk's critics argue he is among a group of billionaires who exercise outsized power over US politics.
The very same billionaires who funded his campaign, who have bestowed gifts upon him, and who have seen huge increases in their wealth and power since Trump took office.
But the majority of Tesla shareholders appear unfazed by those concerns, betting big on Musk's moves for the future.
Let's keep talking about this and bring in Scott Ellis. He's the founder of the organization Patriotic Millionaires, that's made up of people earning at least $1 million a year or holding over $5 million in assets. And they're pushing for fairer taxes, saying the rich should pay more to help fight inequality and protect democracy. Scott, great to have you on the show. Let's start with your personal take. What do you make of this massive pay deal Tesla shareholders just approved for Elon Musk?
I think it should be a wake-up call for all of us in our society, and the magnitude of excessive wealth and the accumulation of power in a very small number of hands. I think we should all be asking, how much is enough? What is financial success? Because I think we want societies where people can achieve financial success. But how much is enough? How much is too much? And when are we going to change the tax code to try and control this accumulation of excessive wealth?
Mm-hmm. The timing of this is, of course, also striking. What does it say about a system when one man could get $1 trillion payout while millions can't rely on their paycheck, or even food assistance during a government shutdown like right now?
The way I think about it is we're living in the 21st century. In historic times, we had emperors, we had kings who had massive wealth, and we had the others living in poverty everywhere. We've come so far as a species in our modern societies, and yet, even today in 2025, in the United States, we are struggling to feed people who are hungry. We are literally looking at shutting down the ability for people to fly, and yet we are allowing someone to receive a pay package, and let's talk about it correctly, of $1 million. $1 million is a huge amount of money. Half of American households have less than $200,000, $0.2 million. $30 million would give someone an incredibly wealthy life. They'd never have to work again. And we're giving one person $1 million. And again, I hope that we will all wake up and say, wait a minute, we can and should do better. We should pursue shared prosperity for our society, a society where we all thrive, rather than continuing to make modern emperors.
You and your fellow patriotic millionaires, as you call yourselves, you campaign for a fairer tax system in the U.S. How would that affect the likelihood of deals like these being struck?
Well, I think the first issue would be if deals like these are struck, people would pay significant taxes on them, just like they should. We are not against the idea of pursuing a better life for yourselves. We're not against people trying to become wealthy, but we all should pay our fair share, and especially those of us who have been lucky and fortunate and have worked hard and achieved success. We should pay our fair share. So it's not about preventing companies from providing compensation packages. It's making sure that when they do, the wealthy pay their fair share, and that should include significant taxes on wealth, because excessive wealth is excessive power. It affects all of us. It undermines our democracy and our economy. And if we want to preserve our democracies and our modern societies, we need to not only take care of those who are struggling and suffering, but we need to say there is such thing as enough. Congratulations, you won at capitalism. Here's your trophy. And please help the rest of us live in a better and safer society.
You raise a really important point here. Musk is not just a multi-billionaire, not just the richest man on earth. He has influence over cars, over space, over social media, and even internet infrastructure. Could this kind of accumulation, not only of wealth, but of power, of course, as well, become a threat to democracy, not only in the United States?
I think what you should say is not could it be, is it? And the answer is yes. It is happening in the United States. It is happening in liberal democracies in Europe and around the world. Again, I come back to the notion of a wake-up call. What will it take for all of us as members of these societies who care about shared prosperity for all of us to recognize that excessive wealth is excessive power? And the question we should all ask ourselves is, how much power do we want one person to have? If we want to preserve a democracy and a society where we all thrive, we need to manage excessive wealth. We need to celebrate those who are innovating and working hard. We can congratulate them for their success, but we can also say there is such thing as enough, and it's time for us all to step forward. The solution is to change the tax code. It is straightforward. It is a task governments already do and are well suited to do. We should be advocating for that change to pursue shared prosperity for all of us.
One person who I'm pretty sure would agree with you on that is Zohran Mamdani. He just won the mayoral race in New York, and he wants to do precisely that. He wants to raise taxes on millionaires in order to fund free buses, childcare, city-run grocery stores, a whole host of things that would benefit the most vulnerable in society. Is this the kind of leadership you think America's richest cities need right now? And is it applicable to other places in the United States?
I think the most important thing is this is a conversation we should be having. And so absolutely, Mamdani is an example of a politician saying, I see a different way. I want to pursue shared prosperity for our society. I want better transportation, better housing for people. I want people to be able to pursue a better life for themselves. And I want people to be able to pursue financial success. But we can do it together. We can help all of us. And the most important thing is for us as citizens to have that conversation, to see the examples of Musk, but also see the example of Mamdani and decide what kind of world do we want? And then we've got to go out and vote for it.
Is there political will to pursue what you are proposing, what Zohran Mamdani is proposing? Because even Democrats were having a hard time getting behind his agenda because they found it, frankly, too radical.
I think we are starting to see the answer. There was record turnout for the election in New York City. People have spoken, and more people are paying attention. It does take time, let's be honest. It takes time for government policies to work their way through society, for people to see the impact on their wallets, on their children, on their health care. But as time passes, more people are noticing. And I think the biggest thing about Elon Musk's pay package is it's another striking example of what happens when we allow excessive wealth just to accumulate. And I think increasingly political will come. And especially as I talk to people under 40, they all say, we're struggling to afford houses. The capitalist system is not working for us. We are struggling. We are seeking change. And I think it's time for the rest of us to listen and say, you know what? We can and should do better for all of us. And so I think political will is coming, and we all need to pay attention, make decisions to pursue change, And it starts with tax reform to create a system that's better and fairer for all of us.
Until that point comes, we only have about a minute, but what concrete steps could extremely wealthy people take in order to get us a little closer to that future that you're envisioning that is fairer for everyone?
I think the first step for wealthy people is to step back and say, wait a minute, don't feel scared, don't feel threatened. If you already have, over $30 million, you never have to work again. Congratulations, you've been successful. You actually have surplus wealth. How could you use that surplus wealth both to improve your life, but to improve your life by helping others? There are opportunities to create a better society for all of us that will not in any way threaten your own well-being. You can still help your children be happy and successful. We can do it all together. And there's a role for government to play because that is the structure. But wealthy people also could step forward and say, wait a minute, I have been successful. I am grateful, and I will use my wealth intentionally to help those around me and to create a better society.
We'll have to leave it there.
And pursue a better life.
Thank you so much, Scott Ellis.